door, and they pushed us in, like, screaming with their ugly voices. My Schnell, 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 and pushed with the dogs, with the whips, the old one and the young one.
This is, to me, is not a car. To me, it is a monster. As a little kid, I was swallowed inside the belly of the monster.
Some of us, very few, were lucky enough to somehow survive.
This railcar will serve as a haunting reminder of how Jewish men, women, and children were treated like cattle by the Nazis. It was transported from Bremenhaven, Germany, to serve as the anchor artifact for the new Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center. Survivors will never forget how this organization began.
For more than a year, the Nazis have been trying to march in Skokie. Last time, the village residents were waiting, but the march was called off. 57.8% of the population of Skokie is Jewish, many of them survivors of Nazi death camps.
Listen, I came up to Auschwitz 1942 with 46 of my closest relatives. A half an hour later, I was the only one. And they were all gassed and burned.
In the wake of the attempted Nazi march in Skokie, survivors in the Chicago area founded the Holocaust Memorial Foundation of Illinois. For more than 25 years, HMFI has taught the consequences of unchecked hatred. But with its small Skokie storefront, it has been able to reach only a tiny fraction of Illinois' 2.4 million school children.
A lot of these kids can look at one of the Holocaust survivors and see what would be a grandparent to them.
Every surviving day for us was a miracle. One night, I stayed in a crowded shelter in Warsaw.
It was just interesting to see from a first-person point of view instead of like reading about it out of a book and stuff.
One life can change the lives of millions.
That's the reason building a museum is so important. The survivors won't be here much longer. So who will tell the stories? Who will educate my children and my grandchildren about what happened?
Last summer, ground was broken on a world-class museum and education facility designed to touch the lives of more than 250,000 school children each and every year.
We talked so many years about wanting to make this museum a reality, and when I looked at the faces of the survivors, they were filled with joy and the yearning that they would be allowed to live long enough to see this turn into reality.
It's important for us to always be vigilant, to remember, and to never forget. And so when we build museums like the Holocaust Museum, we are playing a role in a much larger concept, the struggle of good versus evil.
This has been an incredible year for the foundation. The dream of this new museum is now becoming a reality. We received our anchor artifact. We held our formal groundbreaking ceremony. And we've begun to build this magnificent structure.
There are people who wonder why all of us keep telling this horrible story about the Holocaust. Some believe humanity has learned its lesson, that this sort of tragedy could never happen again. That is an assumption no one should ever make.
It matters because Darfur. It matters because Rwanda. It matters because atrocities occur in our present-day world.
We need to remember what happened so that we can prevent it from happening again.
Somewhere down the line, I might be able to educate others about what happened because, you know, Holocaust survivors will die out, and the people that know about it are going to be the teachers of years to come.
We have an opportunity
through the new Museum and Education Center to give our kids a special place where they will learn to recognize, resist, and confront hate in their world.
Into reality.